Hi garden friends, welcome to the channel. I'm Era and this is Gardening on Purpose. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a subscriber, welcome back. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I garden in Georgia, Zone 8A. It's Sunday and it's time for a Sunday walkabout. All right guys, so for these Sunday walkabouts, all I'm doing, I'm just walking around the garden and identifying anything that I feel like I need to point out, anything that needs to be done in the garden, or anything to highlight what might be new since the last walkabout. So first up is about my gardenias, guys. You guys know I have a history with gardenia, but guess what? My Diamond Spire gardenia is giving me new growth. See all that light green color right there? That's new growth. And I'm so happy. I've been holding my breath on this one because it got damaged during the snow. It was a clearance plant, but it also got damaged when we had that bad snow in those 2 rounds of snow in January. And not only am I seeing new growth on this Diamond Spire, I also am seeing blooms, guys. So happy to report that. Look at those 3 blooms on this Diamond Spire. Now, you know I talk a lot about the other gardenia that I have in my yard. I have a Jubilation and I have a August Beauty, and they just don't do well here. And even though they de-leaf and then they put their leaves back on and then they put on foliage, but they never really bloom, and I'm gonna pull them out. But I'm just gonna stay positive and focus on the good, which is Diamond Spire. Again, this was a clearance plant I got from Lowe's, and I still have the tag on it. Really, it was $24.98 for a 2-gallon, and I got it for half off. My Veronicas, this particular one here, the Royal Candle, it needs to be cut back, guys. As you can see, it's spent. It was actually one of my plant of the weeks like 2 weeks ago, and it was looking great. But it's at the point now where I need to cut it a little back so that I can actually get some new blooms. Now, one thing I do when I'm cutting stuff back, I'm very mindful of the pollinators. If I cut this entire plant back, then this bee, see that bee right there? That bee won't have access to this plant until it actually rejuvenates. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut some of it off and then give it a chance to rejuvenate. Now, what I usually do when I'm cutting back a perennial, this one is pretty easy to do. I don't have to really think about it too much. I can already see new growth there, right? And new growth here and new growth here. All I'm doing is cutting off the spent bloom. This is more than half spent. They're all more than half spent. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in right here and cut the spent bloom off. Once I cut that spent bloom off, this little guy here and that little guy there will get a chance to bloom. I'm gonna do the same thing here, cut the spent blooms off, just cut them off because they're not really doing anything but taking away from the plant, really. Now, again, about the bees, I'm not going to cut every last one of them off because I don't want the bees to not have access to this plant at all, right? So, as you can see, I'm doing my video, and this bee right here is just like, he's not even bothered by me. He's just going in, guys. So, all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these off and give it a chance to re-bloom. Okay, so I have 2 of these. There's another one right there. And I'm just going to do the same thing with the other one, guys. Just come in here and cut the spent blooms off. Give that little baby one there a chance to actually bloom. I wanted to show you guys my Asiatic lilies. They are all budded up and some of them actually have opened up and are blooming. These are supposed to be the Cancun. I had bought some Cancun lily bulbs 2 years ago. They did really well last year and they look like they're going to do well again this year, guys. What a beautiful plant. Now, these are blooming, but look at these ones. And I think I only planted a couple of lily bulbs here, maybe 2 or 3. And these are the original ones that I planted. But look right here, guys, on the side, these are all going to be new bulbs that I did not plant, but they kind of already multiplied from the original plants that I planted. Aren't these a beauty? These start out a really light orangey, pinky color right here. but then it darkens to this. You can see it's on the same plant. That's a light colored and that's a deeper color. It's absolutely amazing. And I wanted to show these now because I don't know if they're going to last long enough to be in the June backyard tour. So I just want to point these out right now. Here's some more of that same Cancun Asiatic Lily, guys. It's absolutely amazing. Something this beautiful doesn't have any fragrance, but it doesn't seem to matter, guys. The bees love it, and a lot of other pollinators that I see just come around and take advantage of this particular plant here. It's absolutely amazing. I know I talked about this in my other walkabout, but I'm so happy about this. I have to talk about it again. This Captain Solo Calla Lily that I thought wasn't going to come back, not only is it coming back and the foliage is looking great, but it's blooming so nicely, guys. Look at that beautiful yellow bloom. And there are 4 blooms on here right now, and it just started blooming like 2 weeks ago. So you already know that it's going to bloom even more. I'm so happy. Again, this is Captain Solo Calla Lily. Something is definitely up with my Yarrow, my sea holly that came up. Now, when I bought all these Yarrows, only these 2 did well last year. And for whatever reason, this year, this guy's not going to make it, as you can see here, but this guy is. Now, this guy's already leaning, and see it's blooming right there, that really nice purple. It's not in full bloom. What I love about this particular plant here is that it brings in other types of pollinators. Not the bees, not the butterflies, and not the hummingbirds mostly. Even though a bee's landing on it right, you're going to see other types of things just flock to this plant. So definitely, I should be actually having this coming up as a plant on the week or something, maybe later on in the month or something, because it's already in bloom. But I'm wondering what the story is, why it's leaning, because we didn't have any storms, and why this one is not going to make it. I mean, it's not spiking, it's not growing, it's like done. And last year, this was the better one. This is really strange. Further along in this bed is this beautiful yarrow. You guys know I love yarrow. Yarrow is a tough plant. Yarrow can take the Georgia heat. Yarrow doesn't wilt when things get rough, you know? But what this particular yarrow does do, and I should have taken care of this earlier, was that it does do that. In the middle, it begins to kind of lay down, and I knew that. And I was supposed to take this thing out and divide it up, but I just didn't get around to it. And it's a beautiful plant, guys. Now, I don't remember the name of this particular one here, and I can't find the tag, but I've been trying to see if I see it in the store so I could actually take a picture of it, but I just haven't seen this one in the store yet. But it's an absolute beauty. The butterflies love it, and look how this thing looks, guys. Look at this deep red, and then that goldy color, and that fuchsia, and that pink. Really nice. But I need to deal with that. It happened 2 years in a row, and I'm thinking it needs to be divided, or something's going on with it, and I need to take care of it. I'm also happy to report that my meant-to-be Queen Nectarine Agistache, or Agistache, or Agistache, that it's blooming. This one was a clearance plant from Lowe's, and you guys know I had a rough time with this guy. This is my 3rd go around buying Agistache, and it was my fault, I'm beginning to realize, as it is with a lot of our gardening things, it's always us, is that this plant does not like to stay wet. And not that I planted it anything wet, but because I have clay and because I definitely planted it on a lower area, I should not have done that. But this plant is doing well. This particular one, I had bought 3 of them from Lowe's, and all 3 of them are doing well. This in particular is doing really great. Here's one right here. And then right next to those Cancun lilies, another one. And I remember, you can tell, these are all the baby Cancun, because I did not plant those. I only planted those 2 guys here. But these are the babies, and they are actually coming towards the Agistache. So I might have to bring the Agistache a little further over, and possibly move that Dalia That Dahlia is just not doing well, guys. I don't know what the story is because that's the only one that's looking like that. It's looking so rough and sick. I don't know what to do. I should probably cut it back again to give it a chance to rejuvenate. That's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut it back. But if it doesn't make it, I will move the Agistache a little further over and maybe move this Dahlia from here completely. All right, guys, so here are some little stepping stones or some stones that me and my neighbor, we negotiated. I have a really great neighbor, and he had this because he was going to work on a patio, but he changed his mind and he gave me these for free. So they're just here in the back, in the middle of the backyard. I'm probably going to leave them here, but I have to decide, what am I going to do with these? Am I going to actually use these as stepping stones? Or I'm going to actually create another little patio area? Or am I going to maybe put them somewhere in the front yard? I don't know what I'm going to do with these. They're totally different. They're not any particular uniformity or any different size or anything. A lot of them still have some concrete attached to them, so I have to knock that off. But otherwise, I'm so happy to get these from my neighbor. Again, I don't know what I'm going to do with these, but they definitely do come in handy. I will find something to do with these, as you know. Guys, I changed my mind again about this back area here. Remember when I had it first, it was just the Japanese maples and the bench. And I said, okay, I want to put some more containers here. But then I bought a bunch of white containers, right? And then the white containers were here. But I said to myself, why go through all that design and make those rocks and then put these colorful rocks in here and then make this little path and then hide it with a bunch of pots? And then again, I actually changed my mind because I did not like the whites back here. Now you see that I have started out with white pots, right? And I had white pots, and then I had black pots, and then but my original pots that I like to use are brown pots. I like natural toned down colors, right? So there are two things going to happen here. I'm not going to leave this alone, this area here, so that I can actually see the rocks, and then put the pots closer to the building itself, the house itself, because I just every time I come out here, I said to myself, yeah. And then I just took them all out. So some of them I'm actually going to give to my sister, and some of them I'm going to take to the front of the yard because the house is brick with a white railing and everything. So it will do better if it's in the front of the house as the two cars pull up, especially the ones that I actually had in I had the wintergreen boxwood, and I have 6 of those. So they didn't really do too much here except be here. And I just said to myself, just take everything out and just let the rocks be visible. So again, hopefully this is the last time I'm going to do anything with this, except for the fact that these things need to be done. I still haven't gotten around to putting these in the pot or anything, but I think the bench, the rocks, and then a couple of pots closer to the back of the house is just enough because it was just becoming too much, and especially since the pots were white. Here's my arbor, guys. You know the plant in my arbor is the Amethyst Falls wisteria, and it already bloomed, and it's supposed to bloom again. And this is going to be its 2nd year in this area here. It's in a container. I don't have wisteria in the ground, and I'm just waiting for it to make its way up on the arbor, and it's happening on this side. Now last year I noticed that the one that I had on the right, half of it was dead, and I actually was worried, and I ran to the store and I bought a completely different one. So this is a brand new one, but it was also not only brand new as in a brand new plant, it was actually a clearance plant, and that is doing well too. The one that actually was half dead or looked like half of it was going to die is this one. I pulled it out, and instead of chucking it, I said to myself, let me keep it. And look here, guys, the plant is quite fine. So that was just me worrying for no reason. Although yes, part of the plant was actually looking like it was going to die. This guy here, I have an extra Amethyst Falls wisteria. So this is supposed to bloom again. I've fed it, I keep it watered, and I like the fact that it is growing on the arbor like I like it to. Now this guy here does get cut back, so the arbor is never completely covered all the time, but I'm hoping this year it will make it all the way around, because last year it probably only got to here before things took a turn. I'm seeing, I didn't do any of this. This is doing it by itself, so I want it to come all the way over and make a really nice arbor, so when I'm coming from the back end of the yard, I can be happy about what I'm seeing in the arbor, guys. You'll see these in the June backyard tour, but I was just too excited. I could not show you guys. They are doing great. These guys here are all clearance plants. These are the Pop Star. Endless Summer Hydrangeas, these three, and then I have the Bloomstruck and the Original. I also have my Invincible Limetta, again, clearance plants from Lowe's. These are the ones who've been here a few years, and they all look great. I love this beautiful purple color. Now, when they're in the ground, they will be more likely more purpley blue. And then if you don't like that and you want to make them more pink, then you can actually add some lime to the soil. I'm just checking in on my sunflower seeds. I planted these in these containers here. I have the Mammoth sunflower, and I have another type of sunflower that I'll definitely go into detail when it starts flowering, or when it actually starts poking out. But this particular one here, this is the Mammoth. This is supposed to grow pretty tall, and I know they don't like to be transplanted, but because I have issues with birds and a lot of things digging up my stuff, I am going to plant them like this and then take care not to disturb their roots when I transplant them. But they are coming out. You can see a couple of them. This one hasn't come out yet, but I can already see some signs of those are coming out too. So stay tuned as I monitor my sunflower seeds. Otherwise, guys, the garden is looking quite fine. I'm going to have a tour in June where I'm going to really go into detail about these plants. But from what I'm seeing, stuff like my coneflowers are looking great. My liatris are coming out. Most of the dahlias are looking great. The junipers are looking healthy. The phlox is looking great. I've got my mums that are all budded up right here. This is the yarrow I showed you earlier. I might actually take out these two roses here. They just don't belong here. So I might take them out and put them in the side yard. I need to also cut this guy back here. This one here is the beautiful Cat's Meow Nepeta that has been blooming absolutely amazing. It definitely needs a cut back. And you know it does when you start seeing the center of the plant. Now this is one of the Nephofia or red hot pokers that I had bought the same time I bought the Eryngium, and I had bought the root. I did not buy the plant, and the same thing happened where it didn't do anything the first year, and the second year it came back and it did really, really great. Now I've already cut this back because you can see the spent bloom here, but this is what the strappy foliage looks like, and hopefully I can clean it up so it could look a little bit better. One last thing I want to show you also is the daffodils. Now if you come all the way in here, you can see some daffodils right there, and as you know, daffodils don't look the greatest when they're done blooming, but you kind of have to wait until they're done and they turn yellow and they turn brown before you cut them back, because the foliage provides the food back to the bulb for next year. So if you definitely want next year's bloom to look great too, you kind of have to wait and let the daffodil do its thing. And I know it's hard because they don't look that great, but that's why you have to be strategic in where you plant daffodils, because here we are in the third week of May, and this guy here, this is my Canyon Creek Abelia. It's hiding the daffodil, and that's why I planted them here, because I definitely don't want this to be the front of the bed, guys. In any case, that's what the garden walkabout is for this week, guys. Let me know what you think. Please like, please share, and please subscribe. Remember to hit that notification bell so you can be alerted on all my new videos. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.